Okay, this is Dr. Mark Carriage with another YouTube group in my group series. Taught the class for a number of years and running groups for a number of years as well. Uh, I decided to produce a video series. This is part 4A, Group Dynamics, the core factors of what makes a group work. Okay, I am Dr. Mark Carriage. I can be reached, before I forget, at mcaric@aol.com. And I've been around doing groups since '84. The last couple of years I haven't been doing them, but I have been doing them ever since that time period. Sometimes up to 10 a week. Okay, so my educational background, I got a bachelor's in '79, SIU Edwardsville, master's in counseling in '81, and followed by a PhD in '85, counseling, St. Louis University. I did an internship at Texas Tech University, Lubbock, Texas, West Texas, from '84 to '85, where I engaged in my first group. You can call me Dr. Mark, Dr. C, whatever. I've been in the prison system for 40 years and called all kinds of stuff by all levels, including administration. With that in mind, Matt Adams is helping me try to produce these things. I don't know much what I'm doing with YouTube stuff, and he's the helper, but he is not present today. He is from our office in Metro East Counseling, in which Chad Welch owns. Also, I consult part-time at TCI in Cloquia Heights, Illinois, which is in the Metro East of St. Louis. So we're in the Metro East of St. Louis, Missouri. With that in mind, the agenda for this video is somewhat short, but there are a number of core factors involved in doing successful groups. The most famous set of core factors comes from Yalom. Irvin Yalom is an existentialist and a psychiatrist who began his research in the 60s, began doing groups in the 60s, actually gets into the dirt with psychotherapy, even though he's a psychiatrist. You know, many years ago, psychiatrists used to do everything. They did the therapy. And then when I went to Taiwan for 6-day training, I was gone for 10 days, but 6-day training period, the psychiatrists were actually doing therapy stuff. And they would also give medications. So at any rate, Irvin Yalom did a lot of his work in two prongs, if you will: existential therapy and group therapy. He called them the curative factors. Also, I outlined some factors from Jacobs' book because I think it's important. He outlines 15 different factors is why groups are successful. And I kid you not, if you don't have these factors going in your groups, you're set up for failure. I've been there and done it. Okay, so group configuration. I like a circle format, although in some settings, obviously you can't get a circle format. But why circle? Research indicates detracts from the power position of you, the leader. You are in charge of the group. I don't care what anybody says. By definition, you're in charge. Now, you distribute the in chargeness or the power any which way you want. Like we like cooperation within the group, which circle format supports the cohesion and bonding process amongst members and the leader, increases expression and interaction, because there's nobody at the head point which kind of detracts from all that. Increases rapport, because without rapport, you're not going to have the cohesion and the bonding. It all is intertwined. Eliminates barriers and also provides, if you have a co-therapist, which I always emphasize, it provides uh, equal status within the group, more of a democratic process. Remember, you still are in charge of the group. Okay, we're getting into Yalom's work. I pulled this originally from 1985 because I was doing lectures on group, um, well, I think, yeah, in the late 80s and early 90s as well. Then I taught it again later on. And I've done workshops on group work as well. So that's all these notes are pulled from all that stuff. Okay, so originally Yalom had a set of curative factors, he called it. And in this slide, I'm just going to quickly go over the list because we're going to go in knee deep in some of them. Installation of hope. What's that mean? The client's got to hope that something's going to be different in their lives. Universality. People in the group have common issues. It's not the oddball out. Imparting information. Sometimes in a process group, you do provide some information, and that's what that means. Cycle ed groups are information based. Altruism. There's a social interest in wanting to help folks. You want to develop that in the group with the leaders and amongst the membership. Interesting one, corrective recapitulation of the family group. And I'll have an example when we talk about that in detail. Because sometimes people will project their early family dynamics and stuff into the group. Socializing, obviously, group is a social endeavor and there's social skills to be had. Modeling, imitative behavior, because sometimes people just model stuff. And when there's a lot of good rapport going on, um, there will be a lot of modeling at unconscious levels going on. Interpersonal learning, that's learning from others. Group cohesion, catharsis, that's venting. We used to think therapy was all venting. Express your feelings and that's it. Well, that's part of it. There's more to it. So it is a factor. People that don't feel like they can vent in group, probably not getting a lot out of it. Existential factors. What's the purpose and meaning of your life, the group's life, people's lives? Um, I'm also got to mention that this is a professional video for professionals in the mental health field. And so I do use some terminology, and sometimes I will explain it, sometimes I will not, because it's for professionals in mental health that I'm going to say should, in air quotes, have an understanding. Okay, so again, these are the factors we're going to be looking at. This, and then Phil Rich, bless his heart, for youth, came up with the factors he thought was most important for running youth groups. I still think all the Allen factors are important for running whatever groups, and include social relatedness and connection, obviously, acquisition of new information and ideas, socialization and development of social skills, self expression, emotional discharge, and corrective emotional experiences. What does that mean, that last one? It simply means that I think people ingrain change more during an emotional, when it's an emotional experience and they're shifting their thinking. That's what it means more. Um, okay, so he tried to explain some of this installation of hope. Obviously, people have hope that something's going to improve. difficulties can be overcome. They don't feel hopeless, that they're just hopeless. Universality, there's common threads, common themes amongst people. Information and guidance, sometimes some information just does help. Altruism, put their own, put other group members' needs ahead of theirs. And I already talked about the family experience deal. And socialization, it is a socializing process. So you're going to learn social skills. Excuse me. Identification, you're going to imitate behavior as well. You're going to model, observe, model. The old Bandera's modeling thing is at play all the time. In a personal learning, people learn from each other and feedback. Cohesiveness, group members experience a sense of belonging together. We're in this together. Yeah, it's our group. You want ownership of the group. Catharsis, group members able to express feelings, whether positive or negative. And existential factors, people recognize there's no escape from some of life's unpleasant realities, which I'm going to get to more of. But this is Phil's take, and he applied it to youth groups. But let's look at what Irving Yalom, Dr. Yalom, said about his factors. First of all, hope. It's crucial in all therapy. I don't care what kind of therapy you're running. The client has to think that there's hope that something will be different. This keeps the client engaged in the process without falling off. Uh, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like they expect hope. There's an expectancy set of success.